The Zoom pod is recording.
Let's have fun, bro.
You ready, bro?
Let's have fun.
Woo! Hell yeah. Just one drink.
Just one drink. And then you start doing like a shotgun. And have you done a shotgun before?
No, you know what? I've never done it, bro.
A shotgun?
Yeah, no.
I've done it once.
Have you?
Yeah.
How was that
I
experience?
was 18.
Oh, really?
Didn't wake up.
Oh, really?
Until the next day.
After doing the shotgun, or?
Yeah, because it's like supposedly hits your system like so much faster. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, that's what I was up to in college.
Yeah. Is that Ryan still existing or not any longer?
I think that Ryan will always be a version somewhere in my subconscious mind, but I don't let him come out too often because when I do, this version Ryan's gone. So you know what I mean? Damn. But it's like chapters, right, bro? Yeah. It's like, you know, you have to live through certain things and then to get to a certain place, right? Yeah. So it's like I feel like everyone like going through that whole party stage is something so important for them for their maturing process, you know.
Yeah, so, you have to
because nowadays I literally just if I go out and like everyone's drinking, like let's say it's a party or like it's an event, bro, all I need is one little shot glass of tequila and I'm sipping on it the whole night.
Really?
And just the fumes of the tequila makes me happy. I smell it, I'm like, oh, I'm happy. I love everybody. Yeah. You know, that's all I need.
Yeah, but like you were saying, is you have to go through those, I guess, events in your life, because if not later on when you're older, you're going to want to do those things. And you know what? You're already older. You should have been done and out with those freaking stages in life, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then again, it's like I also feel too, man, that maybe what the person did at the age of 50, I did at the age of 20. But what if that person did at the age of 20, I'm doing at the age of 50?
True.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like for example, I don't know why I'm thinking about Britney Spears, but supposedly she didn't really live her life to its fullest, right? Even though she was like this really famous late woman and, you know, she had this whole team. But now it's like, you see her on TikTok or anything she posts, she just wants to be free and out there now. Yeah. Like now she's like in her dirty 30s finally. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So she was like a late bloomer. And I feel like the stigma of age, I think that is one of the most misunderstood, because we all believe we need to have something at a certain age, but that is just a conception, right?
Right.
Because look at this, bro. I even had this in one of my nights of ceremony. That's like, man, age is such a funny thing, because everybody that's young wants to be old, and then when you get old, you want to be young again. So you're never truly being happy with whatever age you're at.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I think you broke it down perfectly. You know, yeah.
Like the young, bro, I remember when I was in first grade and I saw a third grader. I'm like, wow, that's a third grader. You know, I was in first grade.
Yeah, you thought he was an adult.
Bro, and then, God forbid, I saw the teenagers. I was like, well, teenagers. You know, and then when I was a teenager, I was like, oh shit, adults, they can buy a beer at 21. And then like, and then it starts to sit down. Fuck, I'm 21 now and I wish I was 10, because now I got all these responsibilities and shit. You know, so it's like, am I ever going to be happy in this present moment? No matter the age. You know, I think that is like where the happiness is. It's like, no matter what age and what it is, you need to be married at a certain age, you need to have a job at a certain, no, bro. Everything happens at divine timing.
Exactly. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I've received that message through the ceremony, and we're going to be talking all about that, right? But that time doesn't exist, right? Mm-hmm. We've, in society, in our physical realm, we made it a thing, right? But in the spiritual realm, it doesn't exist. And that brought a lot of peace of mind, because at times, just like you were saying, I was trying to rush into the next stage in life, right? I feel like, you know what, I haven't accomplished enough, that I was trying to rush and I didn't feel accomplished. But once I went to the ceremony, it brought peace of mind that, hey, you know what? Life is a journey. You don't have to be rushing to the next stage in life.
Exactly. I got one last question before we continue.
Yep.
Do you do like an opening for your podcast?
We're going to do it right now.
Okay.
By the way, I don't think you know, right? But the name. Do you know the name of the podcast? You don't, right?
Well, no.
It's right behind you. It's
Oi.
Oi
no. I don't
mas.
have my.
Yeah, okay. I'll say it for Ryan.
Oi no
it's
mas.
Oi no mas podcast. Now, can you say it good to the mic? Oi no mas podcast.
Welcome to Oi no mas podcast.
Are you ready? Welcome to Oi no mas podcast,
yes,
with Angel Houseman.
Welcome back, guys, to Hoy No Mas podcast. Today we have, by the way, I am your host, Angel Houseman. Today we have a very, very special guest, Mr. Ryan. Brother, thank you for taking the time to join me into this conversation. This is a conversation I've been wanting to have with you for the longest. Thank you, brother.
I have a question. Do you have a button for the wee, 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 like a little bell button or no?
I think I have. Let me see what I have.
That works. That works.
That one's actually safe because another guest, he was he has a hat brand with the roosters, and it's saved. But
hey, no, that works, bro. You know, you gotta hear the call, and then you just gotta get up and just do it. This is why I'm here right now. So.
Yes, sir. For the people that don't know who Ryan is, why don't you give a quick introduction? Man, you have such a huge platform, bro. I'm sure the majority of people that are watching this probably already know you, but for the 1% that don't, why don't you just explain a little bit of what you do, who you are, and a little bit of your background before we actually go and transition into your plant medicine journey?
Sure. Okay, that's a loaded question. Who am I? You know what I mean? Man. So, okay, I guess I'm going to start from now and I'm going to go back. So right now, I guess I'm known as a YouTuber. So I have a YouTube channel with like 2.something million subscribers. I do social media basically. And yeah, that's as much as I can share right now. But demographically, I was born in Canada. I lived in China for like 5 years. Lived in Florida for 10 years. Been here in California for 4 years now. Been into Panama. So I'm from the Earth. So usually when people ask me where you're from, Ryan, I say I'm from planet Earth. World peace, baby. You know what I mean? So yeah.
You said a lot of things that I didn't know about you. I didn't know you lived in China, bro.
5 years, bro.
Yeah?
I was there for 5 years.
Why China?
Okay, so my dad, he went there to teach English for 1 year in China, and he went to a city called Huludao. And actually, it's not even a city, it's a town in the northeast of China. He went there for 1 year, and he saw that he wanted me to experience the experience of being in a different country. And I ended up going there for 5 years instead of 1 year that he initially wanted me to go for. Because we just fell in love with China. So I ended up going to Chinese school over there. I was the only white kid student in this whole school, in the history of the school that I went to, among 6,000 Chinese kids. So I was like literally an alien walking through those hallways. And they used to think, because I have blue eyes, and they used to think that my eyes I was blind because I had blue eyes. Wow. So I was completely like an alien to these people. And yeah, it was a cool experience. And I was able to pick up the language even faster because when you're in a different country and everybody's coming up to you speaking their language, you kind of have no choice but to pick it up. You know what I mean? Or else you're not going to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
So I ended up speaking Chinese, and yeah, man.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. Not a lot of people can say that. Hey, you know what? I lived in somewhere else from California even, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you learned the whole language and everything till this day. Are you able to speak it?
我是东北的小朋友。
What does that mean?
我住在中国5年多，我非常爱中国。Yeah, I just basically said, I'm from the Northeast and I love China.
Nice. I love that, bro. And you know what? As a matter of fact, right now that you were saying that you do YouTube and content creating, for me, bro, that's living the life. That's my biggest dream. That's why I'm doing the whole podcast, the vlogging, behind the scenes, things like that. Because for me, people like yourself, you're living the dream in my point of view. Because at one point, I want to be doing what you're doing.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, it's like... you're always gonna, whatever heights that you reach, there's always gonna come with the struggles there, right? So like, for example, me, bro, like when it comes down to content creating, because I've been doing it for like 5 years now, probably more than 5 years, because I started on my sister's channel. But everything that you do in life will have a tax. You're gonna get taxed some kind of way. If you work at the nightclub to make some money for your kids or whatever, but that's the only job you have right now, you're gonna come home with beer bottles, with beer caps in your pockets. You know what I mean? You're going to come back home with lighters because of all the lighters you keep giving people light. You're going to always bring something home. I used to work at the beach as a beach boy, and I would always bring sand home. I used to work at the Sherman Williams paint store. I used to always bring paint home, like accidentally touching paint with my elbow that was still wet from the paint. hey, mess up the wall. You always bring something home. So when it comes down to content creating, because it became a job, there's a different type of thing you bring home. Now you bring people into your life, and you bring that kind of energy into your life, you know? So knowing how to keep the boundaries is what is also what all plant medicine work is about, is knowing how to keep yourself safe, to be vulnerable, so you can be authentic and people can actually like you, rather than you thinking you need to be somebody else to get cookie points and to feel accepted, which is an issue that I fell into when I was in high school, right? And then me leaving that whole paradigm of my brain, I need to fit in, and realizing that I am unique for what I am, and that's why I was created. And for me to throw any kind of dirt on that uniqueness is doing a disservice to me and God. So now it's like knowing how to keep my boundaries to let me be vulnerable is like what content creating has taught me, you know? So.
Bro, that's mind-blowing. The way that acknowledging that you were pretty much breaking everything down, that no matter what you do in life, there's going to be some rippling effects to your livelihood, to your family. I love that breakdown.
Anything. If you're a boxer and you're world champ, you're going to come home with some cuts in your face, no matter what. You know, so I think it's like you have to choose your hard in life, you know? Like anything's going to be hard. But like even in a bad relationship, right? Let's say leaving the relationship is hard, but staying is hard. Choose your heart. Like you have to follow what you want to do, because all those cuts and all those scrapes that you get during that work, that pain becomes the glory, right? And I think that's what ayahuasca has taught me a lot, is that the pain will always become the glory. And now, even though pain is still very uncomfortable, even to Yoda, the Jedi Master. I mean, have you seen one of the Star Wars movie? The guy gets knocked out for a few seconds, but yes, that's Yoda, right? Yeah. No, but because pain doesn't decipher whether you're just a young Jedi or you're an ascended master. It's still gonna come for you. It all depends on how you're able to handle it now, with the experience that you had, that you're able to accumulate becoming your Jedi-hood, right? So. Yeah, I think I lost track there.
No, actually, as a matter of fact, because you were saying a lot of, you pretty much gave a loaded answer, right? But something that captivated me, right, is that did you feel that you were trying to please the people into being somebody else in order for the people to like you?
So at first, 1,000%. Okay. Because I wanted to gain viewership, right? Actually, I'm sorry. At first, when I started my channel, because when I started my channel, now I had something to lose. Before starting my channel, when I was on my sister's channel, I had nothing to lose because it wasn't my channel. I was just being a guest star or I guess whatever.
Just another character, right?
And the thing in my head, I'm like, I got nothing to lose, so might as well just be myself. And that is what made people want to follow me, because I was just being Ryan, right? And then people will start to like, being curious about who's this person that's bringing like himself, right? But then when I created my channel, now I started putting stats to it and statistics and numbers. And then since the whole content world is an ego, numerical driven world, I kind of fell into that. I'm like, I need to keep my views high. So I need to make sure that I cater to the viewers, right? Because now I start seeing money coming in from the views. So if the views are not there and they don't like me, I don't get food on my table. So I need to be on my P's and Q's.
And, oh man, and sorry to cut you off, but you know what? I feel like that's why a lot of content creators can't really speak their mind. They can't really go against what the society or the system is. Why? Because they rely on social media as a job, right? So they're scared to go against the current.
The grain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you know what? Actually, right before we dive into your ceremony, right? I think a year ago, you posted a video that you said, this is time for a change or a new chapter in life, right? And I saw that and I'm like, you know what? I think he was ready at that point, but then maybe something inside of you just made you pedal back and stop yourself. Can you explain why you stopped yourself?
What post was that?
It was actually on your YouTube. Actually, I think it's your YouTube channel. You know which one? I think you have a feather in your hand.
Yes. Okay. So with that, So what started happening is that I was ready to change my channel into something that I had the initial vision for, right? Because obviously when I started my channel, it was just me, and then I met my beautiful girlfriend, and then that's when things started going a different direction, right? Not bad, it was just a different direction. I started doing the whole family thing, right? But in the background, that initial intention that I had to create my channel was always still there. And matter of fact, the more that I would not follow that, the louder it would become, right? And then doing the ayahuasca, I realized that that voice that starts becoming loud and it starts knocking on your door until you finally answer it, it's just gonna get more intense until you finally do, and that is the voice of your higher self. And I never really, actually no, I was gonna say I never really had a relationship with my higher self voice, but the reality is that I've always had one. The thing is sometimes you have to separate yourself from it, so you can realize that something's gone. For when you come back, you realize that it's always been there, and that you should have never have doubted it to begin with, right? And that's probably been one of my biggest lessons with ayahuasca. Is like she has showed me the voice that I have inside me, and how many times that I would doubt it, and what led after the circumstances that led after doubting it, and the pain that it would cause, right? For me not listening to my intuition. Ryan, you should have went left and you went right. You knew to take left. Why'd you take a right? Oh, because you were giving the people the benefit of the doubt, because you were being too nice, or you put yourself last, right? But look what happened. A whole detour. Look what happened, Ryan. Listen to your voice. Oh, but it's so hard for me to listen to my voice, to take a left, because then they're not going to like me. Well, Ryan, this is the battle of becoming an individual. And with me, it's like I love people so much. I've always loved people my whole life, even to this day. Like I know I meet a lot of people that say, "Oh, I don't like people so much." Like I have met people. I can never understand that. I'm like, bro, people is the reason why I came here to this planet, right? Like the reason why I chose to reincarnate is because of people. And matter of fact, I have a story of a past life regression that I had during ayahuasca. That I had a past life regression, bro, and I revisited this memory of when I was being taken away by the political powers of that time, and they were gonna execute me. And I remember feeling like I'm just gonna let them take me because they're gonna execute me because I was trying to spread wisdom. I was trying to spread love. I was trying to spread healing. I was trying to spread unity. And back in the medieval times, none of that would fly. Matter of fact, they would call you a witch, or they would call you something. You would come out with holding rocks like that God created, like these beautiful crystals. Look at this thing I found. Witch! Burn you to death because you're having this thing that the earth took thousands of years to create, and they had no idea about because they were afraid of what they didn't know. So now that's why they just kill people left and right. So I was one of them. I was a martyr. Is what they call it, I think, whatever. So I remember that they're gonna execute me, and I was walking to my execution. I said, you know what? This is going back to like people, right? Like the whole thing. I said, I'm gonna leave this place and come back. This is what I said to myself. I'm going to leave this place and I'm going to come back when the world is not so stupid. That's why I said to myself, like, when they're not so dumb, I'm going to come back in a few hundred years, right? And then, boom. And then when I was on the other side, after so many years, but is eternal because you're in eternity, right? I remember, I'm ready to go back to Earth right now, because I want to help the people. But now look at this, right? This is the irony. This is going back to the whole people thing, right? Yep. The reason why I wanted to leave to begin with was because people. And then the reason why I want to come back was because of people. Because I was like, man, I want to leave because the people over here on the earth, where they're at, on a collective consciousness, like where they're at in their ascension, is just shrouded in ignorance. So I want to leave. So then I left. I'm like, but fuck, they need my help. They need someone to awaken them. So the very reason why I left is the very reason why I came back. People like not I'm saying not people in general. I'm just saying like the higher powers that were like, executing people and like keeping people dumb.
But you know what? Oh man, you're honestly you're doing such a great job explaining it. At least to my end, I know exactly what you mean, right? Because even till this day, that same acknowledge that you just gave, right? About back then they used to kill witches, right? Or whatever, anybody that had an idea of something supernatural, right? Now to modern times, anybody that's speaking with the truth, right, or against what society or the powers that being are saying, they cancel him nowadays, right? So even till this day, that is currently happening. But look at what you're doing now, right? Now you're trying to be yourself and actually speak the truth.
We are canceling cancel culture. Okay. The thing about cancel culture, and this is one thing that I really want the whole world to know this, is that it's making people afraid to be themselves. That's the thing. It's like, bro, let people say whatever they want. How's it gonna affect you and your bills and what you gotta pay for your food and your roof and your car and your clothes? Like whatever they say, like how's that gonna affect you? You know what I mean? So if gay people want to be gay, let them be gay. If people want to be trans, let them be trans. If people want to do whatever, let them do whatever they did. At the end of the day, if they actually do something that's fucked up, like fucked up shit, like maybe an influencer was caught trafficking or some shit. I get it. Okay. Cancel the guy in the sense of like, you don't have to support him, right? But with the knowing that karma is real and that at the end of the day, the only energy, the only higher power that has control on that person's life is the higher power. Like all you could do, at least what I do, is I just pray for them. Like, man, they did something fucked up. I'm going to pray for them. Because that, like, I'm no one to condone anybody at the end of the day either. Yeah. You know, like, bro, one of the most beautiful, this leads me to one of this memory I have. One of the most beautiful experiences that I've had of somebody, this is during the ceremony. I saw this man that he was in a really rough time in his life. I was basically a homeless guy. And they brought him into the ceremony space because they wanted to help him out and, you know, help him start from scratch. Then he had to pay nothing. No, just come so he can start to heal. What I saw that night is I saw 4 angels around him, and they were praying to him. They were the most beautiful, high, pristine angels from the higher realms, pure crystal beings, 4 of them, emitting complete power in their harmony and their peace. They're just by being present. There are 4 around this guy that never saw his value. So here you have a man that's on the floor and it's like going to, he's never seen his value. Wow. Whereas these 4 angels are just praying for him, with him, that they're never going to leave his side until he finally does. You know, so this even comes to show you that even the people who have done the most atrocious acts of humankind, one day, no matter how long that they're going to leave that realm of purification, which is what people call hell, which I've been there. That's a whole other story. When I went to Brazil, I actually had to peek through that hell because God had to show me that it's a very real place. It's just a matter of time that they're going to get purified from it, right? And then because we're eternal beings, right? So our soul's like eternal beings, right? Yeah. And that's probably one of the most profound and common awakenings of plant medicine is when you realize that you will always exist forever, and that this human incarnation is just a blink of an eye compared to what your whole experience of a soul is, right? So yeah, man, yeah.
And you know what, man, I love that, and everything you're telling me, I totally understand because I've done ceremony myself. I've done it 3 times, but so. We talked about you being a YouTuber trying to please people. Then you posted that video that you were ready for the next chapter in life because you wanted to be your true self, right? So now let's take it back. And you, after that video, I feel like you didn't proceed with that because you continued with your family channel, I guess, venture, right? And at least from what I saw. But now let's take it back to the beginning. Because there's going to be a lot of people that this is brand new to them, like plant medicine, ayahuasca. This is brand new to them. So let's take it back to the very, very first time that you heard what ayahuasca was, or your first time being initiated to a ceremony of ayahuasca.
Okay,
let's take him there.
Okay, so I found out about ayahuasca when I was 15. Okay, I was in Tampa, Florida, and I walked out of the sliding glass on my backyard of the house. and my family used to live next to this cow pasture. So I walked outside. This is right when I came back from China, right? I'm just this curious little kid, which I'm always am. I'm just a really curious person. So I walked to the back, and I see cow shit with mushrooms on them. And I just couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, how are the mushrooms growing on the shit? What are they eating that there's mushrooms growing on their shit? Like, I just couldn't, I couldn't make of it, of anything. So I asked my my stepdad, I'm like, yo, Bernie, what's up with the mushrooms growing on the cow shit? What, are they eating something? And he, jokingly, he was like, oh yeah, me and my buddies back in college, we used to eat those and we used to trip out, dude, right? But I knew inside of me that there was some kind of lack of what's that word?
Knowledge?
Yeah, knowledge, reverence.
Okay.
There was a lack of reverence towards the whole natural process on why mushrooms even grow and shit to begin with. Because a lot of people have misconceptions about shrooms or psychedelics in general because of the whole hippie era that kind of put a bad taste in everyone's mouth. When everyone thinks of psychedelics, they think about people like, you know, with like peace signs and like colors, and then people lost their mind. That's what they think, right? So there's this taste in the subconscious mind of the collective mind in this world about it, right? But so when he was saying that, I kind of saw that kind of misconception that he was still kind of living by. So I decided to do my own research. Why do mushrooms grow on cow poop? Enter. I saw psychedelics. I then, out of nowhere, I started seeing the benefits. I started seeing how people are changing their lives. I started reading about ceremonies. I started reading about how for thousands of years, the healers have been using these holy sacraments that the universe makes in order to connect with the higher self, with the soul, with the purpose, with your powers, with supernatural abilities. Literally. And then on the bottom, I saw ayahuasca. I'm like, oh, what's the what? Click on the thing, and I read about ayahuasca. And the moment I read about ayahuasca, this ancient brew that's been on the earth since the dawn of humanity, I was reading about it. I'm like, one day I'm gonna drink this. I'm gonna do this. It's gonna change my life. I was 15. At the age of 21, at 19, I had a spiritual awakening. I had it was through a mushroom ceremony that I did, and I had a whole awakening about the realities of this life and of the dimensions, and how I was kind of living a life that was based on what somebody wanted me to live by, which is my parents' society, and it wasn't really truly me. And to even step back to look at that truth was already like hard as it is, because I was so embedded in it that I didn't even know that I was living based on somebody else's circumstances or ideas. I didn't even know it. So then I left university. I'm like, I'm meant to do something bigger than this. Meant for something so much greater. And I saw it in my ceremony. So I followed my heart. And then when I was 21, I was ready for the ayahuasca. I was just kind of like talking to the universe of God. Just send me whatever that could take me in. And that's going to be perfect for whatever alignment that I need to go to. And send it to me. I walk into a store one day with my sister Catherine to buy eyeglasses because I just needed new frames. We walk in there. The guy was by himself, and he was like cleaning away his frames. And he looks at us and he goes, and he gasped. This guy we never met before. Like, oh. And we're like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, hey, I'm just looking for it. He goes, hey man, before you guys continue, that I can help you, I want to let you know one thing. And this guy had he had a crystal here. You can tell the guy was very connected. He looks at my sister. He goes, Catherine was only 22. Okay, this is when she used to live in Miami, before YouTube, before Los Angeles, before everything, her kids, everything. She was just a 22-year-old girl living in Miami. He looks at her and he goes, you're going to be very famous one day. I could see it. You're going to be very big and famous. And then when he was telling her that, I'm like, shit, how about me? What do you got? Am I gonna be more famous? What you got for me, huh? Tell me. I know I'm gonna be somebody too. You know,
you're gonna be a character in her famousness.
No. Then he looks at me, and then I'm like getting ready for some good shit, and then he kind of told me something that I needed to hear, not that I wanted to hear. And then he was like, "And you you do art. I'm like, yeah, I do art. He goes, you just got to keep doing it. Just do it. Don't think about the art. Don't think about how it's going to come out. Just do it. And I'm like, okay, how about me being famous, money, what was that? And that's all he said, right? I'm like, fuck. So then, like, when I was, like, checking out the frames, I asked him, because he was already very open to us about, like, sharing with us whatever his insight was. I wanted to ask him, I'm like, yo, do you know about ayahuasca? Because I've been reading. He goes, yeah, you know what? Matter of fact, I have a really good friend. Her name is Dharma. And she is from Brazil, and she works with the Santo Daime community of the medicine community, and she's actually here based in Miami. I'll give you her number. He gives me his number. I reached out to her, and then and then after that, I went to the ceremony. I was still so young going to that ceremony. I did not know what I was getting myself into, to be honest with you. I knew that it was going to be transformational. I knew that it was going to be life-changing, but I did not know that in order for anything to be life-changing or transformational, there needs to be some kind of give. And the give is the toxicity that you carry. And the toxicity that we carry, sometimes we're very attached to it, like the hamburgers, the negative self-talk, the putting down other people, even if it's joking. You know, the habits that we have, all those things, I had to give it away in order for my blessings to come in. And I wasn't ready to give away my attachments. I was only 21 years old. And then in that night of the ceremony, bro, I saw my whole blueprint on what I meant to become, what God wants me to become in my life.
No way.
And that image was staggering. It brought me to my knees. And I said, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. Like, how can I walk that path? Bro, the path was windy. It was full of poisons, animals, shrubs. And there was a mountain over there with a light. And I had a stick. And it was like, you need to start this journey today. And then, I realized, and then I got scared of the journey. So I didn't go back to ayahuasca until I was 26 years old. But then I realized when I went back to ayahuasca that in those 5 years that I didn't go back, I accumulated the amount of pain that I needed to go through being cheated on, through me doing bad things, like, because I just didn't know the severity of things. I was young. I had to go through all these types of pains throughout those 5 years for me to finally be ready to go knocking on God's door to finally listen. You know?
Yeah. So literally when your first time doing ayahuasca, that's when you saw this vision. So a lot of people might not know, right? Mm-hmm. So ayahuasca, it's a brew, right? It's a tea that you take. So what Ryan was mentioning was that after he took this tea, this drink, he was able to see this vision. So what ayahuasca does, and this is for people that don't know, right? What ayahuasca does, it gives you things that will help you heal and be the best version of yourself or whatever path you're supposed to be following. Mm-hmm. So for Ryan, I'm guessing it was that blueprint, right, of to become the person that you're meant to be in this life.
Exactly.
And you know what's crazy? Mm-hmm. And we can move forward with that. But you know what's crazy? That even as a kid, you were struggling with that. Now to your current years doing YouTube, mm-hmm. you were still struggling with mm-hmm. that. And up to this point, you're still working on that, bro.
Yeah.
How insane is that?
Yeah, because the thing is like you said earlier before we started the podcast, is a journey, right? And let's say ayahuasca shows you your final kingdom. And then you look at your life and you don't even have, not even the foundation. You don't even have a freaking hammer to start the whole kingdom. So throughout the years, you start building up the tools, and then you start to learn the tools, and then you start to even learn to not be afraid to use the tools to create that kingdom, right? And then throughout time, you also have to make sure that you keep, or that, like, at least for me, that you keep your plate and your karmic plate clean. Because if God shows you what you're meant to do, and then you go in the complete different way, now you have more negative shit or more shit to overcome to even get to the starting point. So now it's like, so it was like I was in a negative with the karmas that I've had, And then to burn through all, to finally get to the neutrality of it was already a big feat as itself. And then now to get from the neutrality to the positive of it, of the whole kingdom, then that's a whole other feat too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, as of right now, it's like, even though I have my own will to do something right now, maybe it is not the best time just because I believe it's the best time. Maybe the circumstances, maybe I'm being impulsive on wanting to do something right now. And I'm being impulsive and I'm not really being patient. And then me starting off something like with that kind of energy will it won't materialize as smoothly because you're not taking account into the grace of divine timing at the same time. Like, for example, me and you, we met how long ago, but we're finally doing it today.
Yes.
And I feel like today is the perfect time to do it.
Yes.
Like, I feel like anytime sooner it wouldn't be this depth and with them this much depth and whatever that we're sharing together. You know what I mean?
I agree. There's no mistakes in life, and I don't believe in coincidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everything that happens, it's meant to be for whatever reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only God knows what the reason is, but I feel like everything, the different pieces of the puzzle come together eventually.
And they really do. And the beautiful thing about keeping up the ceremony work is that you keep getting, or at least me, but I kind of noticed it was like a lot of people. Actually, it's new to everybody that does that. But when they come back, they always get signs to keep going. But the signs that are related to them, right?
To keep going back to ceremony?
Yeah, or just to keep going in the life. Like you're going the right pace. You're going to the right place. Like, here's the sign here. Okay, you saw green your ceremony night. Let's say someone gave you a green clover. Then the universe, then that green clover somehow unlocks something in your brain for you to actually feel you're lucky. And then let's say you leave the ceremony, right? And then by the fourth day, maybe you start to doubt your luck or whatever. You leave your house and out of nowhere you're gonna see a mailbox in front of you with a green clover. Like, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Or you're gonna see somebody going down the bike with a big green clover on the back of their white shirt, just like stuff like that literally happens.
Right.
You know, so that's what keeps me going, and also because I have communed with God's will so many times, I now know what He has in store for me, but in also a mysterious way. Because it's like, oh, I know for a fact it's gonna get this. No, it's like you're gonna get something amazing, but you have to leave it to the mystery, so you don't choke it. You have to leave it open so you don't like try too hard. It has to be a dance. It has to be the balance of dark and light at the same time. You know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like what I noticed with myself and most people in general is that a lot of people are uncomfortable with the unknown, and that's what God has shown me to do. If anything, He has, or ayahuasca has showed me and taught me how to be more in a relationship with the unknown rather than to fear it. Right? To be more in a relationship with it, to know how to dance through it rather than like, oh, I'm scared and my life is at risk because I don't know what it is, right? The ego comes up, like the survival mechanisms, the amygdala starts to like fire off and say that you need to do a flight or fight response because you're looking at something that you don't know, right? Rather than approaching it with curiosity and then even reverence, you know, like, okay, what's it here to teach me, you know?
Yes.
Moving on.
And you know what, that's something very, very important that you mentioned, that a lot of people see plant medicine or shrooms, things like that, with a different perspective, right? Because of what society has put a name to it, or this dialogue behind it, that, oh, you know what, you're high off mushrooms, or what, oh, you're super high off ayahuasca and you don't even know what the hell you're doing, right? But the main reason why I wanted to include these segments, and including yourself, right, is because we want to showcase that it's nothing like that. This is healing, and it's a ceremony that you have to actually prepare yourself for. At least from what I know, we had to diet down for two weeks, right? We had to get rid of meat, sweet sugar, so we had to stick to water. So people that are actually going into the ceremony, it's not just, oh, you know what? Yeah, I feel like doing ayahuasca today. No, you actually have to treat it with respect and prepare for your ceremony. And that's, at least for my end, that's one of the key things that I want to showcase with these conversations we're having, that I want to remove the bad stigma that it has, right? And I want to show how healing it can be.
Right? Yeah, 1000%, bro. And the things that's like the way how I look at they're known as plant teachers, right? The ayahuasca, huachuma, San Pedro, the peyote. So all these plants and these natural things that the earth creates, they're tools, right? How you use those tools will be dependent on your intention, right? If you like grabbing a knife, you can use a knife to create a meal, or you can use it to hurt somebody, but yet it's still a knife. Is what your intention is. You can use a car to like go into a parade of people and like get arrested for the rest of your life, or you can use it to go to work so you can feed your kids, right? So anything that is in the physical dimension is about the intention on what the people use this for. Now there's a lot of people that are from very poor areas that are use the medicine to attract and to make money out of, and that intention is not really that greatest, because then you can feel the integrity of the ceremonies not being of high vibration, and that's when people start getting like bad taste in their mouth about like what medicine is about, because it was just on the wrong hands, right? But going into a ceremony with people that have been doing it for years, that they're trained, that they know how to do it, it's literally the most transformative experience that you could probably ever imagine. And then even putting it to that perspective, like don't even go in there with no expectation, because when I went to Peru and we did 7 ayahuasca ceremonies in 12 days, I was in the middle of the Amazon with like 30 people from all over the world. I was sitting next to this lady that she was a shareholder, one of the biggest shareholders of Netflix, and I forgot her name, and she was there looking for her answers. Right. Wow. And this guy over there, he was a doctor, really well-renowned doctor from the Netherlands. And he just had he had so much anger in him.
Wait, I want to kind of like, man, because that's a lot, man. So you did ceremony for 7 days, or 7 ceremonies in 12 days?
Yeah, in 12 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
And where at again?
In Iquitos in Peru, in the Amazon in Peru.
What made you go over there to Peru to do these 7 days?
So, I did my research, bro, because the Amazon is very vast. It hits in Brazil, I think also Bolivia, and all the whole different types of countries, right? But the reason why I chose Peru, because the Shipibo tradition, the way they carry the medicine, I think I was called to learn from them first. And then I just picked a place that had really good reviews, a whole bunch of like psychiatrists, doctors, a whole bunch of people that are just regular people and athletes and from all over the world would go to this one retreat center, and that's when I decided to go to that one. And then we did 7 ayahuasca ceremonies in 12 days. Like I was saying, like I was going with all this expectation, so I didn't get shit my first night.
That's actually what I wanted to go into. Can we go into each one of those ceremonies?
Yeah, for sure. So my first night, I didn't get nothing.
And what do you mean by that?
Like I was just sitting there on my. So basically, that ceremony is like the Shipibo tradition. Like you have to drink the medicine and have the ceremony in the dark. So there's no light, no nothing. You're literally in the middle of the Amazon in a big tambo with mosquito screens, so insects don't go inside. You can hear the ambiance of the whole jungle. You can see the moonlight hitting off all the leaves. You're literally in the middle of the jungle. And I'm just laying there on my mat. There's noble silence, so no one talks to each other. Everybody's in a circle, just laying in their own mats. And the only people that are saying anything or singing are the shamans. And they're singing these things that they call icaros. Icaros are literal vibrations that the plants themselves have taught them how to sing. So plants actually have a vibration to them, and just because you don't see it or you can't hear it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The same way how you can't see gravity or oxygen, that still keep you alive, right? So things have auras and energies. So the shaman, after so many years of training and of tuning their psychic faculties, turning on certain regions of the brain to be able to commune and see these energies, the plants have taught them how to sing the icaros, specifically for different chakras and whatever that the shaman thinks that you need. For example, like there was a shaman, he came up to me, and like I just sat up on my mat, and he was looking at me, and just seeing what I needed. And then he went to his little files of the big files of Ikaros that he got, and he started singing me a specific Ikaro to align myself to that vibration that I needed the most, right? So that was the only thing that was being like heard of the whole thing. But the first night I was there like sitting down, laying down on my mat, and I drank the medicine and nothing was happening to me. And after the ceremony, I kind of was like discouraged. I'm like, why didn't I feel anything or see anything? I didn't get my answers that I came here for. Like, what? And then the people were like, don't worry, Ryan, you need to have patience, because she, the spirit, she's testing your resilience right now. She's testing how bad do you want these answers. You can't just ask for, like, in a way, you can't just ask for it and get it. You kind of need to work for it, right? Kind of like Yoda from Star Wars, right? Let's use this hypothetical character. Think about how much work he had to get done to become Yoda. No. It's not. He didn't just ask to become Yoda. He was given to him. No, no. The training, the demeanor, the discipline, right? To keep going regardless of the hardship is what made him Yoda, right? So my first night I didn't get anything. My second night, I got a little bit, but it was nothing. I didn't get a breakthrough. You know, I was learning about my divinity and how whenever that, like, I have no resistance in me. When I don't resist and I'm just surrendered, I can just feel divine. And I have like this divine feeling forever now that, like, whenever I'm just being me or sleeping, whatever, I can. It kind of reminded me of the Buddha, you know, how when he's like laying next, like this on the side, the Buddha, and he's like kind of laying like this, and he's just being in his divine self. So I was feeling that feeling like, wow, like we're all divine beings, but the way to get to our divinity is through surrendering, right? So I got that a lot. But when I got my breakthrough, that was the 5th night. And that was the night that I did not want to go back.
Really? Why is that?
I did not want to go back to the ceremony.
Did you feel that you weren't receiving what you went over there for?
After the 4th night, the next day, everyone's going to the Tambo to start the 5th night of ceremony, and I'm like, I don't want to do it because I just get sick. I'm just pooping. I don't want to go because I'm not getting what I want, right?
Was the rest of the people you were seeing the rest of the people talking about their experiences?
Yeah, and I was also getting like, oh, I'm not getting what she got or this and that. So I was like, I felt left out of like, maybe this does not work for me. And this was like the last resort of like my healing that I was really looking for. You know, I really tried almost everything else. I'm like, man, this has to work. So that's why I was so like attached to the outcome of ayahuasca. So by the 4th night, I wasn't getting anything. By the 4th night, I didn't get anything. I was like surrendered. So I said to myself, you know what, Ryan? Just go. Just put one foot in front of the other and just walk across that little Amazon walkway and go into that Tambo and just go. And I'm like, whatever. I already paid $2,000. I'm already out here. Like, what am I going to do? Just twiddle my fingers here in my little Tambo? I can might as well just go to the ceremony. Because I showed up defeated. Because I showed up surrendered. Because I showed up with no expectation. When I drained that cup and I went back to my Tambo, I was given everything. I was shown past lives. I was shown why I have certain patterns to this life. Good patterns. Bad patterns. I was shown what I meant to bring to the world. I was shown my unborn daughter coming in. I was shown how to keep a vulnerable, beautiful heart open while keeping it protected with steel, right? But at the same time, being that grace of the vulnerability of the love and not being so hardened by life. Like I learned the balance of light and dark, bro. I had my breakthrough the day that I went in there with no expectation.
And you surrendered.
Yeah, and I surrendered. And then that's when I was like, oh my God, this is ayahuasca. This is like where it's at. Like this is meant to like really show you things that you've always had questions of, literally. So
what's a past life, if you can mention anything that you can talk about or you can even remember that makes sense to you why you're a certain way?
Okay.
If you can talk about it.
For sure. So ever since I was a kid, I always had like a connection with the sky. So for example, when I was like from the earliest memories I have since I was a kid, I the memories is me looking at the sky, and I can feel the sky talking to me, right? And I've had like 4 or 5 big moments when I would look at the sky and I would feel something communicating with me, and I know what it was. It was like a message coming through, but I never really thought much of it until my ayahuasca experience. So that night, I went to this memory that I was holding a stick and I was in the middle of I don't look. This is just the memory. I don't know whether I was even peeking into another person's. Maybe it was a different person because they were in different bodies, right?
Yeah.
But the same spirit, maybe. You know what I mean? But
it was what was presented to you.
Yeah, and it's what I experienced. Like, and nothing is by coincidence. Like the medicine's gonna show you exactly what you need at the time that you need it for you only, and it's gonna make so much sense. And a lot of times people come back knowing how powerful they are, but then they want to share that power with everybody else, saying that like, oh, I'm this so and so and so. But then people are like, oh, what do you mean you're this and that and that? You know what I mean? Like, you're just no. But the ayahuasca showed me. So that's why it's important to keep that power, that knowing to yourself, and not really share it with the world, right? So that's one thing that I had to learn the hard way about my experiences. But with this memory that I got, I was holding a stick. I was in the middle of nowhere, right? And mind you, my body is still like in the tambo in the middle.
Yeah,
of the
you're
Amazon.
laying down, right?
Yeah, but I'm going through this experience that was so familiar with me. It was like I've lived this. Oh my God, I'm back home, back to myself. I have a stick and I'm looking around. I'm in the middle of the desert. I'm like, whoa, in the middle of the freaking desert. And I look up and this guy was talking to me, and I said, I'm like, I don't know why, but I need to go that way. And right when I said that way with the stick, there was nobody around me. I heard like cattle bells, like and like, and then like dogs barking. And I look back, and then I see these 2 men, and right in front of me, they were like these warrior guys. They had their helmets underneath this thing, their arms, and they're 2 looking at me, and they're like, so, like looking at me for an answer. So where do we go? And and then I looked at them, and right behind them, I saw thousands and thousands and thousands of people that were made a big line, and we're crossing the desert to go look for a new beginning of life.
Wow.
And all these men, women, were like with babies on their breasts, the cattle, the men holding stuff. They were all in a huge line across the desert, and I was right in the beginning of it. And I'm like, oh my! And right when I was like, oh my God, the vision ended, and then I was back in my body, purging out the things that didn't align to that truth.
Wow. Mind blowing, bro.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn. So
that's just one of them.
Because you went through multiple, right?
Yeah, because after that, bro, it's just like I realized, because when you have such experience, you get so many downloads at once. You're like, oh my gosh, I can see why I'm connected to this guy. Oh my gosh, I can see that I have multiple lives. Oh my gosh, I'm eternal. Oh my gosh, I'm only living this life called Ryan Johnston for such a short period of time. Oh my gosh, I'm probably gonna come back. Oh my gosh, like there's all these things that happens at once that you realize that you really got nothing to lose and everything to gain in the life, you know?
Yes. Bro, I've heard that so many times. I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast that they were talking about that, right? That it's just our soul, our spirit is eternal, right? And we're just here experiencing this physical reality as me being Angel, as you being Ryan, just for a small period of time. So why not be your true self?
Exactly.
Right?
But the thing is too, I have to give reasons to people that are not living to their truest potential, because a lot of people come from really broken families, and a lot of people come from traumas. A lot of people come from so many experiences that makes them feel like they have to hold back their beautiful hearts, and I get it. We don't know what people have been through and all that. So the healing needs to happen so they can finally shine again. Because if it was to everybody's decision, I really believe everybody would want to be, I just want to be myself. But there's something blocking them inside.
I agree.
Something that's there, that this fear, this doubt, I don't know what it is. And it comes from even when you were in the womb. For me, my my trauma even started before the womb, because in my recent past life, this is when I was shown this, why I was born with an eye disease. So I have keratoconus in my eyes. It's the bulging of the corneas, and I was born with this. And matter of fact, when I found out why I was born with a disease, I realized why a lot of people are born with diseases. It's not because God hates them. No. It's because we carry something in our souls when we first land in this planet, that whatever that thing that we're carrying, whether it's cancer, HIV, keratoconus, whatever type of disease, it's our thing that we need to overcome. It is the fuel to our enlightenment. There's no fire without gas. That is the gas. That is, but that gas is also pertaining to what you've experienced in the past life, what I saw at least, right? So why I was born with bad eyesight is because in my recent past life, when I revisited those memories, I witnessed the massacre of the Native Americans. I was actually a Native American man, and I actually have physical, tangible proof that I was one, and that's a whole other story.
No
but
way.
Yeah, I have physical, tangible proof that I was one. A whole other story.
Okay.
But I was a Native American man, and I witnessed the massacres. I saw messed up things. And I was one of the last to get killed in the whole thing. So I witnessed a lot of shit. And it made me not want to look at life. So I had this pain in my soul from seeing that. And I was born with that pain. And I kind of made myself blind because I didn't want to face it. I didn't want to face reality. And then other things started to trickle that align with that frequency in my life, because the universe is not going to listen to you in a way it's going to respond to you. So whatever, like, for example, if you say, I want this, but you don't feel it, it's not going to give it to you. It's going to respond to what you're feeling, not what you're saying.
Because, you're saying it, but deep down inside of you, you don't mean it, or you're not feeling it, right?
It's like in the scary movie, the scary movie with the mask.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not scared. No, I'm not scared. And like the guys are running, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm not scared. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Clearly you are.
Yeah.
So it's going to respond to your feelings. And I think that is one of the most important things that the plant medicines, the plant teachers, they show us, is how to create a relationship with the feelings of your emission to have a good response that the world is going to give to you, right?
Agree. Something that you mentioned that I feel right now that you mentioned is when you're like, oh, I'm home. That was my first message that I received when I did a ceremony. I felt like I was traveling through space in this black pitch freaking, I guess, horizon. And I was traveling through space, all pitch black. And then finally I got to a place where two orbs, two lights received me. They were going back and forth. And they told me, we were waiting for you, right? And once I got there, I was like, I'm home. That felt like home. And I've never felt like that before. And I felt so much love in my life at that present moment while I was doing ceremony that I just started bawling, crying, bro, of so much love that I was receiving. So when you said that, you felt like that was home in those past lives, I felt that because I've never experienced that in the physical realm.
And you see, it comes to show you how amazing that all these memories that we have that are locked away in the potentiality of our brain, of our psyche, once we start unlocking those doors of perception, we realize that we've actually been carrying it this whole time. You know what I mean? It was just a matter of realizing it. And I think that is like what the plants help us do. And the things like we have to also do the homework too. Like we have to come back from these ceremonies and we have to do what the homework is. Like we have to meditate. We have to keep our diet clean, because all these things that we don't do to keep our spiritual hygiene at a good health, we're gonna get ripples from it. And maybe it could be unwanted ripples.
Yeah, so. Exactly. Yeah, I think I'm not sure if we mentioned it right now. Are you cold, by the way? I can turn off. You're good? Because something that, I don't know if we mentioned it through the podcast, but I think it was off the podcast, is that a lot of people just do one ceremony and they feel like, oh, okay, I experienced it, I had a good experience, and that's it, right? But something that you really wanted to mention was that it's not a one-time thing, right? It's life is a journey, and with ayahuasca, same thing, because it's not okay. I did it once, and that's it. You have to go back and continue working on yourself, on your spirit, on your soul, to continue growing and becoming the best version of yourself. Am I saying it?
Yeah, because it's like, are you just gonna clean your house one time?
Of course not.
From the moment you buy it, imagine you only clean your house once. I already cleaned it 2 years ago, and it's all dusty. Like, you know,
Yeah.
No, you have to keep this maintenance. So the same thing that goes with the physical maintenance to keep this microphone good, and you know, you gotta dust it, you gotta clean it. Your body, you have to take a shower every day. You have to keep your body healthy with the food that you consume. Is the same thing with the spiritual hygiene, right? So when it comes down to spiritual strength, the same way how in physical strength, you can't just go one time to the gym to get the 6-pack abs. You need to keep going to this gym to get the 6-pack abs, and then also maintain the boundaries of not doing the things that make you not have the 6-pack abs, like the hamburgers or whatever that it is, eating late. We have to maintain it. It's like a lifestyle, right? It becomes a lifestyle. So when it comes down to like creating, this is why I keep going, is to create and strengthen my spiritual power. Because with that, now that I have seen what that could bring into my life, bro, the reason why I got this boxing event, I just boxed on this past Saturday on this huge Misfits card, and one of the biggest influencer boxing crossover for influencers like in the world. The reason why I got the opportunity was because a month ago I went to ceremony and I had to heal a certain aspect that was in my soul that was blocking me from a new opportunity. I didn't know what it was. And finally, when I did the spiritual surgery, when I left the surgery, I got a phone call. Hey, Ryan, do you want to box? And I knew it had to do with all the work that I did spiritually, like in the ceremony, because I made room for the opportunity to come in my aura, in my subconscious mind that is connected to the earth. Literally, I made room to it. You know, bro, and there's been so many times that it's like for example, there'll be one instance, like I purged out a bunch of my dad's stuff, just a bunch of his stuff. I purged out for him, right? And he lives in Tenerife, Spain. He lives kind of far from here. I call him next morning, hey dad, I want to talk to him because I had a whole experience about my dad, and I had to like really find some forgiveness in him and certain things. We're all human at the end of the day, and I finally found it. I just want to talk to my dad. My dad, how you doing today? Hey, you know what, Ryan? For some reason today, I woke up extra happy. I don't know why.
No way.
Oh, yeah, you don't know why? Because you don't know what I was doing last night. I was purging out your stuff. I was helping you unload your stuff in the spiritual realm, literally. And he doesn't even know why he woke up. I don't know why I feel good today. Man, go off doing his coffee and then what he does in his morning routine. But he did it with a smile on his face that morning.
Wow.
Because of the work that we do, you know, for them. And then guess what? This is where I learned biblically when they said that Jesus died for our sins. The Christ energy grabs my Christ in me, your Christ in you, the Christ in everybody. We grab someone's pain and we put it for us, and then we transform it. That's what he did for us. That's what that's what was the teaching that he was here to show. It's like, if everyone in the world is not, if there's one person in the whole world that's not okay, I won't be okay. So this is what I've done for my dad, for my mom, for my sister. For even one time I was going to ceremony, bro, and I saw this homeless lady. She was talking to herself in the corner of the street, and she was just like really mad at her bag. She was kicking the bag, and bro, and I saw her. She had really crazy energy around her. Like, God bless her, whatever her story is. But later that night, I was helping her purge her stuff, and she was thanking me on the other side. I could feel her gratitude on the other side. She probably didn't even know what was going on to her, wherever she was at. But I was helping her, you know? Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. Yeah, I can for sure relate to that. So something that right now when you were saying that, it's words have a lot of power, you know? And when I remember this, and it's always been ingrained in me that whenever this song, and maybe you can testify to this, right? When the shaman puts specific songs, or I guess the Icaros, you feel a certain way, or the vibration of it affects you a specific way, right? And I remember there was a specific song that he put, and when the song was saying, it went, obviously it was being sang, right? But it said, "I just want to be a good man," or whatever. At that point, I just I purged, bro. I threw up, and they kept on saying it over and over. And I just wanted to throw up at that specific time when it said, "I just want to be a good man." And it's just like, it affected me, but that's always been my whole goal. I just want to be a great person in life, bro.
So I think it's important to also, to the people who don't understand like the whole purging thing, right? Like, because that's one thing that scares people away from going to ayahuasca, is the fact that they're going to think they're going to have to poop, to purge, whatever, yawn. But the thing is, like, you have to let go of the things that doesn't serve you. And when you do a purge in a ceremony, it doesn't happen all the time. Matter of fact, I know some people that went to ceremony 30 times, and all until the 31st time, they finally got to their purge. And they were so happy. Like, finally I was able to release my mom's anger towards me that was trapped in my body somehow. And I was living for it for so long with it in my aura. And I was finally able to let it go. So the things with the purging is that you can purge in so many different ways. One, you can purge through shaking, yawning, pooping, puking, crying, laughing. There's so many releases that you could do to release that built up pressure, right? So when it comes down to the purging, it's like you cannot be afraid of it, because that's actually the biggest blessing if it does happen to you. Because now you're releasing these toxins, all the free radicals that are floating around in your body that is blocking you from your higher self, the connection to the higher self. Because think of yourself like as an antenna. And if you have all these noise that is in your body, the Wi-Fi connection to the higher self, to God, to the universe, is going to be weakened. And most people have it completely turned off. So when you purge, you're letting go of those things that are those filters, the dirt, the dirtiness that's blocking you from that connection, to make your antenna strong and resilient and connected and powerful. You know? So that's why it's like a lot of times when people hear about the purge, no. It's the biggest blessing that happens to you, because you're finally able to let go of a load that you've been carrying for so long and that you didn't even know you were carrying. Most people carry loads for so many years that the load and the weight has become a normal part of life, and they can't even imagine their life without it. But imagine letting that go. Finally, once and for all. The freedom.
Yeah. I love that you share that, right? Because a lot of people, they're like, no, I'm good, right? But what they don't understand is that, let's say, for instance, at work, right? One of your coworkers made you mad, and you're just like, you held all that energy inside of you, right? You had a problem at home with your significant other, your family members, whatever the case is. There's a lot of bottled up energy that you never let out, right? And through ayahuasca, you have the chance and I guess you're able to release all that bad energy that, like you were stating, you don't even know you're carrying with yourself, right? And once you purge, you feel so light the next day, or even right there, right after ceremony.
Yeah, it is so beautiful too, bro, because like whenever I do a purge, bro, like, look, one, to begin with, when I go to the physical gym, to Planet Fitness, I know I'm not there to fuck around. I'm going to go there and do my intention. I'm not going to be on my phone. I'm not going to go like act and flirt with the idea of working out. I'm going to go in there. It's going to be intense. And a matter of fact, the more painful I make it, the more of my results I'm going to get. Right? So whenever I go to these purges and when it's happening, I know that, okay, in order for me to start seeing my the gifts or the gems that I'm about to get at the God, a spirit, Madre Ayahuasca is about to give me, I need to work for it, right? So, but the beauty is that whatever that I'm giving out are things that don't even serve me anyways. So it's like a win-win situation. And then this is where one time I pooped. I had to poop myself in ceremony. I was sitting with the Colombians, the shamans. I was outside around this fire, and the purge was coming out. Here we go. I get my bucket, and then I came out from both holes. Boom, boom, and I was sitting down. I shat myself.
Wow.
I'm going down to my leg, and I'm like, oh my God, don't move this. I just sat in it, and then I felt so uncomfortable sitting on my shit. But guess what the spirit told me? She was like, Ryan, I heard like a celebration. I'm like, oh, why is there celebration? Why? Because now you're finally able to sit in your own shit and not run away from it like you've been doing your whole life.
Wow.
So tonight, you're going to sit in your own shit and not run away from it. But guess what? Wait. But I don't want to sit in it. Wait, hold on. Shit is the best fertilizer for soil. It's the healthiest thing you can give to grass in order to create strong grass. The darkness in the sky wouldn't be able to or the stars in the sky wouldn't be able to exist without the darkness that surrounds it. So be in your shit, be in your shadows, be in your darkness so your light can shine. If you keep running away from it, you're never going to be a true light. You have to be in the middle of it. So learn how to sit in it right now. And the more I start to surrender and sit in it, the more I start to realize that magic does grow on shit. And then I started thinking about the 15-year-old self when I saw magic mushrooms growing on shit. I'm like, oh shit, magic does grow on shit.
I was just going to say that. Everything connected, right?
Everything connected. Wow. So it's like the very shit that we're running away from is the very shit that's going to actually build ourselves. Yeah. And that's what most people do, is just that they run away from the shit and they live comfortably. And that's fine. You can live comfortably in your life. But when your time comes and you start to leave the body because it's your time to go, you're going to have a life review. And in that life review, you're going to see all the things that not only that you did do, but the things that you did not do. And those are the things that hold the people back the most when they're passing away. And I saw that too in general. Like I saw in one of my life reviews, I was like, oh my gosh, if I don't take care of this now, and I neglect it for the rest of my life, whether it's saying I'm sorry to somebody, whether it's forgiving somebody for something or asking for forgiveness, if I don't take care of this now, when I'm 90 years old, 160, 50, whenever I decide to go, when the good Lord decides me to take me, that instant that I didn't do is going to come up in my life review. And I don't want to take anything to the grave with me. I want to be completely free when I leave. So I don't have nothing holding me back on the other side, that I've seen so many souls that are stuck on the other side. I've seen them all. And it's a scary place. In matter of fact, one of my good friends, his name is Xander. He went to ceremony work after he had an overdose experience. He died for 5 minutes, and when he left the body, he went to a place that was dark, and there was like a whole bunch of whispers and people, just souls that were just confused, like, where am I? And it was like an eternal blackness. And he prayed to God to come back to his body. He came back, changed his life afterwards, never again. But that, I've actually been there before. And that's made me realize a place I do not want to go to when I pass away. So I need to start doing the work now. I need to start releasing the attachments that I have to the earthly dimension. And attachments doesn't mean to not have fun with and love what I have around me. It doesn't mean that. It means not to be attached and as codependent to it. You know, if I don't do that, on the other side, my soul is going to be heavy, and it's going to take me a while to ascend. And I've even there's a couple of friends that have passed away in the last 10 years that they came to me in ceremony, and they were really sad. They were very sad. Two of them. Well, one of them is kind of he was kind of okay with it. One of them was really sad that he's on their side, and the other one friend that passed away, who was really happy because they were just all in different spiritual evolutions, and by the time that they passed away, you know.
Wow. So just because I feel like it's a lot of information all at once. So you actually communicated with these friends of yours that have passed.
Yeah. So one of them was my friend, Charlie, right? And he passed away like 9 years ago. He was like 21. And it was such a sad story because like... yeah, it's a sad story, brother. So he passed away, man. And what's crazy is that the dude, Charlie, he represented something in my life that I did not want to look at. That's why he had to come to me. He represented a dark path that I took in high school for me wanting to feel accepted. So every single time I heard the word Charlie, because he was like that main guy of like the group, or one of the main guys of the group, I didn't want to look at it. If we would go to a restaurant called Charlie's, I don't want to go there eat it because it would remind me of bad moments in high school, right? So but that was one of the things I had to heal one night. I didn't know how to heal it. So the medicine brought it to me one night, and Charlie came to me, and he was just so sad on the other side. And I could see why I was telepathically communicating with him. And then he was like, Ryan, whatever that you're doing, get my family to do this because I need to talk to them and communicate with them so I could leave this place that I'm at right now. I feel stuck over here.
Wow.
He was stuck in oblivion. Stuck in oblivion.
So he gave you a message to deliver to the family?
Yes, and then check this out. I messaged his brother the next day. Bro, I messaged his brother on Facebook. I haven't talked to in 10 years. And I said, hey, brother, I had this experience. I know this is a deep subject to touch on, but your brother came to me, man, and he just wants to communicate with you. And like, if you're ever interested in coming to a ceremony, this is the ceremony gives us an opportunity of a space of a window to communicate with people who have passed away or deceased loved ones, so we can finally help them. That's one possibility. It might not happen, because who knows what happens in the ceremonies. It's whatever you need. But if you want to come, bro, the moment I hit send, mind you, I don't have any notifications on my phone like that I have enabled. The second I hit send, of an Instagram notification dropped down. It was from a comment that someone posted on my story. The second I hit send, and it said, "Thank you, Ryan." ... And I knew that was Charlie sending me that in that very second. Like, they were like, send. Bro, I was hesitating for like 7 minutes to send it. I'm like, I was like this on the send, hovering over the send button. Like, you might think I'm weird. You might think I'm crazy. I'm like, but if I don't send it, I'm going to live with regret. Mom, freak it. Send it. Bling, bling, bling. Thank you, Ryan. I'll show you the video. I mean, the screenshot later. And even after I sent it, I'm like, yo, bro, I just took a screenshot. Look, he just says thank you. And like, I sent to him, but because I was so like excited about it.
Yeah, there's no coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, bro. And you know what? My girlfriend, we've actually done another podcast prior to these talking about ayahuasca, and she's also been able to connect with people that have passed.
Mm-hmm.
It's as crazy as it sounds. This is a common thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a common thing with ceremony, and it's just mind-blowing. Like you said, it's a specific window that you have the availability to do that, to cross and actually communicate with them, and it's just the message is delivered insane.
So you know what happened to my sister? This is her first ayahuasca ceremony, I think it was, or second. So this is on, so you go with Linnell, with the lady that I go with.
Okay.
We start on Friday and then we wrap up on Sunday. So there's 2 nights of ayahuasca.
Okay.
So on that Thursday before the Friday, my sister was in her room, and out of nowhere, she's laying down with her baby, Lele. She's the middle child. And out of nowhere, Lele goes, "Oh, I'm scared, mommy." And she goes, why are you scared? Because I see a boy. And because Lele, she's able to see things, right? Mm-hmm. And like, it's one of those things that like kids have gifts that you don't want to put away or sweep under the rug. Right. You want to like, what do you see, right? Especially now with ayahuasca, I know that kids have developed intuitions, right?
Yeah, because they haven't been
conditioned and shit.
There we go, conditioned to society, right?
Yeah, and to neglect those powers, right? That we're literally born with. So she goes, "I see a boy," and she goes, "Well, where is it?" He goes, "He's standing over there." And then at the moment Catherine looks over, Catherine had electric blinds that you could just turn on with a remote, and it goes up and down, right? No one was near the remote. The moment she looks by, bro, all the blinds start going up. The second she looked up, and it got creepy because it was nighttime, right? Wow. So they start going up. It was at night. So then, like, she's like, "Okay, let's just send him away with love and light." And then she just made a little quick prayer. Didn't think about it for the rest of the night. She was a little spooked out, but yes, that. She goes to ceremony. Friday night, my grandfather comes to her. He passed away 2 years ago. He comes to her. He goes, "Catherine, this is Edgar Pies. Can you hear me?" She goes, "What, Edgar, Granddad? Yes. What? Like, I only have a small amount of time with you, Catherine. Please listen to me. What? I've been thinking a lot for the last 2 years of since I passed away. And I'm ready to ascend. But my wings are so heavy. I don't know how to go, and I just needed to talk to somebody who's still alive so they could hear me and so I can commune with." And then he goes, "And last night that was me, Catherine. I just want to say I'm sorry if I scared you, but I had to let you know this is real stuff. That was me doing it, and I had to do it before the ceremony, so you can see how it didn't happen after ceremony. So you don't put in your mind that was the ayahuasca doing it." It had to happen before you went to even drink your first cup of Vaya ever. So it started the process there, you know, to release doubt of like, oh, that could have been my... No, it's real. And then he was communicating with her, and basically like after her communicating with him, he was able to ascend now. And she kind of like released him because he just needed to be heard and have a message to tell my mom, you know.
That's beautiful, bro. And man, this is just endless of different stories that I've heard.
Yeah.
Endless.
So endless.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just glad that, I mean, I've never heard of you actually speaking out like in a platform before. Maybe you have you or no?
Not necessarily like this. I have done one podcast with this lady once, but yeah, like now I'm gonna start doing it because now the time is now.
Do you feel like this is part of your journey to spread the word?
Yes, 1000%. You know, the thing is, like, I also don't want to tell people to do something because you have to. No. If you feel called to do it, then definitely go and do it. You know, the thing is too is like you also have to be a candidate to drink the plant medicines. Like if you're under any type of antidepressants, any type of SSRIs, like you need to lay that go. If you have schizophrenic things, like there's certain things that if you have pre-existing conditions, like you're just not a candidate for ayahuasca, which is okay. Yeah, it's okay. Just like everything happens for a reason, right? Yeah. But to those who do feel the call, or to those who are scared, even that are scared, go. Yeah. If you're healthy and but you're scared, go. Yeah. There's a saying that they say in the Amazon: if you're scared to do ayahuasca, do ayahuasca to overcome that fear of whatever that root comes from. If you're confused about doing ayahuasca, do ayahuasca. If you want to do ayahuasca, do ayahuasca. If you feel like you don't need ayahuasca because your life is so perfect and that like everything is just so healed and you're fine and you're doing good, do ayahuasca anyways, because it could only help you regardless and help you see blind spots that you've never seen before, no matter what. Like even if I don't know why I've been using Yoda so much for an example, but even Yoda, the ascended master or whatever master that you think of that comes to your mind, if he were to drink or she were to drink ayahuasca, it would still be something that it would help them anyways, because iron sharpens iron. Even a master needs to keep his sword sharpened, because throughout time it gets dull, it gets rusty. No matter what, even if you're a master, you still need to sharpen it.
I love that. And that's something that I tell a lot of my friends exactly the same thing, that, you know what, I really wish you try ayahuasca at least once in your life. And to those friends that I feel like they'll benefit out of it, right? Mm-hmm. If I feel like certain people won't have the respect or gain something good out of it, mm-hmm. then I don't even mention it. But mm-hmm. to those friends that I know they have healing to do, I always mention it. Bro, whenever you feel like the time is right for you, I really hope you get to try ayahuasca at least once in your lifetime.
And then it's like, it doesn't just like, because some people just don't think that they need healing. Like, for example, like I know a handful of people that they just don't need healing, but they're the ones that need it the most, but they're never going to call it healing. Yeah. So like to those people, I just say, don't you just want to know the truths of this whole universe in general, or just why you even exist, or what came first, the egg or the chicken? Like, aren't you curious about those questions? Like
that's the reason why I did ayahuasca. Why? Because I know there's more to life than this. Mm-hmm. That was my main reason why I did ayahuasca, bro. Mm-hmm. And you know what, as crazy as it sounds, right, a lot of people are going to be thinking random things or have their own opinions about this because it sounds crazy, and it's perfectly fine, right? The only thing I ask from whoever's listening to this is to keep an open mind and look into it. Mm-hmm. Look into it, because all of this, if this is completely new to you, it is going to sound crazy, but do your research. Don't say, oh, you know what, they're right, they're wrong. Just look it up yourself, mm-hmm. and keep an open mind. That's all I ask for people.
Yeah, and I'm also always so excited when there's a first timer going to ayahuasca, because I always tell them, like, bro, whenever you go, you're gonna come back with your own set of wisdom that you can share with the whole world. So I'm kind of eager to learn from you and what you experienced, like what your stars have showed you, you know. So because everybody has such unique perspective that we're all our teachers for each other, you know. And that's one thing that ayahuasca has taught me. It has taught me that I don't know shit. So to always keep an open mind, right?
Yes.
The more that I learn, the more I realize that I actually have more to learn, right?
Yeah.
So like to always be a student of life and to always be open. And I think that is my essence. And that's what it has helped me to like tune into.
I love that, bro.
Mm-hmm.
We're actually an hour and 30 minutes in.
What? That was 2 seconds. We can keep going.
Yeah.
Next podcast.
Yeah. Is there any last message for, at least for this one, bro? I really wish we can run it up again, and we could, because like you said, there's endless amounts of stories, and just with one ceremony can be a whole podcast itself.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And also we can get into talking about the grandfather Huachuma. So ayahuasca is the grandmother. She's here to teach you what to change, and Huachuma gives you the power to make those changes.
Ooh, I love that.
So we can talk about Huachuma too.
Because I've just done ayahuasca myself. I've never done anything else, or not even microdosing on shrooms. But man, I'm so excited to continue learning.
Yeah, it's super exciting, man, and I'm really excited and happy to be here on this podcast, bro. Like I feel like this can be the first of many, and yeah, man. So for whoever's tuned in, we love you and thank you so much. And yeah.
Yeah, babe. By the way, Cello's behind the scenes, babe. Is there anything you would want to ask Ryan? Anything that maybe you're just like?
I think the only thing would be, what was your experience, or if you can share anything when he said he went to hell.
Oh, okay. So really quick, I tell people this all the time, but I can go to heaven anytime, right? In the sense of like, heaven is beautiful. Heaven is amazing. But the place that I have learned the most of anything is in hell. Because hell taught me not to lie. It taught me not to steal. It's taught me not to deceive people. It taught me not to manipulate. It taught me everything that I do not want to be. So that's what brings me to my heaven. But when I went to the actual realm, this was in Brazil. I went to Brazil and I spent a week there. We did the cura nights. They call it cura. This man, his name is Carioca. He's a master, but he knows how to open basically these portals for you to go through, but he's going to help you get out of it no matter what. You're always going to be okay. So that's the courage to go through these places, knowing that there's going to be something there for you to learn. And that's what changed my life forever. Because when I went down there, once I realized, like, oh my gosh, I've been there before. I've been there before. Matter of fact, this place is way too familiar for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
So I've been there before. And two, when I was there, it's a place that is really horrible. I saw, while I was there, I was like floating on top of it. I saw just so like millions and millions of souls that are down there. And really, this is what kind of happened, right? I was sitting down in my chair and we were singing the songs of light, and out of nowhere I started sinking through my chair. I started seeing my wrist go up. I started seeing everybody in the room go down because I'm sinking through to the ground. And halfway down, as I was seeing everyone's like legs, you know, I said, oh my gosh, I know where I'm going. But see how much courage you have to see how far you can go down there.
Curiosity.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, let me see how far I can go. Oh, this is my chance, right? The force coming out. I'm like, okay, we're going. Here we go. And then I dig my head down, like through the ground, and from miles and miles and miles and miles from down in that dimension, I heard yells of begging for mercy. But that's where that's where the rapists are, the murderers.
Wow.
That's where the and there's different regions, right? I saw how, like, you know how like a candle, there's like a flame. The closer you get to the candle, the warmer it becomes until you start to get burned in the flame, right? The ones who have done the most atrocious types of messed up things, the karmically, are the ones that are in the thing. But the ones that are like haven't done that much of a bad stuff, but they still need to be purified from like ego. They don't go to the flame, but they go near it, And then at the right time they leave it, and then at the right time these leave it, right? Because they've been purified. Like fire by nature cooks, it purifies things. Fire transforms, it welds things, right? So that's what fire does. It is the symbol of transformation. So this is why when I was seeing it, I'm like, oh my gosh, all these since we're eternal beings and people pass away with so much sin or so much karmic shit, where do they go? They have to go through a purification process before they incarnate again, you know. And then I even had to go forgive somebody that that was down there, and I had to forgive the guy because he was stuck down over there. It's a whole other story, but I had to forgive him, and the moment I forgave him, the same amount of pounds that he was on the floor, like oh, he was like here, like forgive me, Ryan, and I was around with this white light. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna just say a different name, but Dr. Daniels, it was a doctor, and he was like, please forgive me, and I'm like, the spirit was like, Ryan, this is your moment right now to forgive him. I'm like, but I don't want to forgive him because of what he did to me. You have to, because look what the role that you played and how he messed you up. It takes two to tango. So even though he messed you up, you were still in a place that attracted in him because of your own vanity. So it took two to tango. So you have to forgive him because you played a part in your suffering of it. So I'm like, okay, you're right. I did play a part of it. And he was like, forgive me. The moment I said, I forgive you, Dr. Daniels, he went like this, whoa, and he still stayed here, but I saw pounds relief off of him. And then I said to myself, like, oh my God, there's still thousands of other people that need to forgive this guy. And not everyone's doing this work. At least I forgave him. And the pounds that released off of him, released off of my ethers. Now I feel lighter. Because that was something I was holding in my heart for a long time. But it's just a matter of time that, like I was saying, like when I was like hovering over the health thing, like I was also seeing that there would be like one light going like this. It would leave. And I would look over there and then like they were just like ascend from that purification process.
Wow, amazing. Yeah. Man, what a journey, man. What a journey with everything that you just shared with us. And I really hope we're able to run it back again and continue learning more about all the different plant medicines, right? And just something that eventually I think if God gives us that, I guess that gift, we'll share the whole story and ceremony that Chelo, my girlfriend, went through. But even you being here, bro, is part of a ceremony that has been presented to my girlfriend Chelo. So you being here, it's already something manifesting through that because of that.
1000%, bro. I feel like everything is divine, and I'm sure that we're gonna sit together one day, you know, whenever that time comes. So I'm excited, bro. Like, yeah, I feel like everyone that does ayahuasca and they've seen the benefit, I feel like it becomes like a moral duty to like spread it to the people, man. And we know we're doing it with good intention, and we're doing it for the right reasons because we want to help, and we want to help the world awaken and to see their power, to return the power to the people. That's what I think is our mission, bro.
100%.
So
100%. I'm with you. That's why we're doing it.
Return the power to the people, man.
And with that being said, if you don't have anything else to say for now, Ryan,
good to go. Love you guys, man.
Say same. Subscribe to the channel. Show love to Ryan. That way he gets encouraged to continue coming and sharing more knowledge, some more experiences. As I always like to share, it's a greater risk and not taking a risk. Till next time.
Hoy no más.
Yes, sir.
Peace.